to another episode of Them and Us. I'm Colleen Bennett and you are
Dawn Grant.
Thank you for joining us today. And our subject matter today is, what do we do with the children, or the handful of children who want to try and disrupt the class, or our children's class, or any class for that matter? What do we do with them? Or should the school be doing more with them? Should the parents be doing more with them? What can we do, or what should we be doing to try and manage their behaviour when they're just plain disruptive?
The question is, what would you actually do?
What would you do? Now, back in our days, we're always talking about back in our days.
Yeah, because that's the foundation, really, isn't it? Back in our days.
We had the cane. Now, if you can't mention the cane,
Or the ruler.
Or the ruler. It's a bad word right now. And if you mention the cane, they'll think you're talking about Cain and Abel in the Bible in Genesis. But we ain't talking about that cane. We're talking about canes, you know? Cane. And back in our day, the headmaster was allowed to use it. He had that autonomy and he had that authority. Of course, we don't have that these days. And some children are just plain disruptive, and they're just plain unruly, and they're just plain out of order, and they just don't want to. They don't want to hold their corner. They don't want to behave themselves, and they're quite happy to disrupt the lessons for other children. Whose job is it to bring these children in line, and how can we bring them in line?
Well, in the first instance, as a teacher, you would expect the teacher to bring it to the parents' attention, right?
Yes.
But we were saying in the previous episodes that if you've got no upbringing,
yes,
you can bring it to the parent. What's the parent going to do with that information?
Yeah. Because if the foundation
isn't there
in the first place, then you don't have nothing to work with.
And then, an ignorant parent would turn around and say, yeah, well, it's your job. You're in your care for most of the time. You get on with it. It's like, no. Actually, no. It is not. It is your responsibility as a parent. Now, if a teacher came to me and said to me, your child is disruptive, for one, I wouldn't have that anyway. But I'm just saying, just in case, I'd turn around and want to talk to my child when it comes home. Now, if the child comes home and gives you a full sort of story why they're playing up, you literally have to sit there and say to them, well, technically, if this happens again, I'm going to punish you. But, punishment don't work. It really doesn't work. Me, as a teacher, what I do, what would you do if you were a teacher?
Find a room to put them in.
Absolutely. Segregate them. And you see, when I finish with the classroom setting, and everybody's done their work, who are willing to work and put the effort in, it's time for playtime normally, isn't it?
Yeah, or choosing time.
Yeah. Me, I'll go to that other little section that I've sectioned these, I wouldn't even call them nomads, these disruptive children, and I'll find out how they've done. If they've completed, they're not getting any free time, let alone playtime. All that time that they've spent wasting, they'll spend that time when everybody else is doing what they want to do, because this is the only way you're going to get a child to really conform. And we're not conforming to, society conforming. It's conforming to, there's one teacher to how many pupils. And at the end of the day, it's not fair that a bunch of people or a bunch of pupils, a bunch of children, whether there's one or two, will disrupt. And normally those are the ones that are quite dysfunctional at home.
Yeah.
Who's got no behaviour, has got no boundaries, no guidelines, and parents really don't care. But saying that, there are some parents, that actually do care about their children, but they just don't know how to manage their children.
Yes.
And then you find out that the children manages them, and they know what to get away with and what not to get away with. So,
that's true.
In fact, Mum and Dad, your voice is what? White noise. So there you go, love.
Yeah, and she's absolutely right. I think that's another good idea, actually. Maybe the authorities, not necessarily the school, but maybe the authorities should put on child rearing courses for parents and give them some pointers or some lessons in how to rear your children.
And we're not saying that parents are perfect. We're not. But the problem being is, and quote me if I'm not wrong, anyone can have a child. Anyone.
But not everyone can parent a child.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you something. Okay, let me tell you something. I'm a foster carer, yeah? So you can imagine I've had a fair share of different children come into my house. They like to label them because they're in care. So they like to label them. And my thing is, don't do that. I remember the first child that came to me, he says to me, you're going to have to put me in to see a psychiatrist. I said, excuse me?
Spell it.
Psychiatrist. You're going to have to put me in to see a psychiatrist. I said, what? What are you talking about? Why would you say that? He said, because they're all saying that I'm crazy and I should be under a psychiatrist and I should be seeing a psychiatrist. I said, is it? Really? Not in this house, mate. I said, look at me. I'm a psychiatrist, yeah? I said, I'll psychiatrist you, yeah? And it was a challenge. It was a challenge. And very disruptive at school, to the point where we were always told that children don't get excluded if they're in care. Lie. I'm just telling you that's a lie, yeah? Because when they were about to exclude my boy, I was moving him out of the whole area, taking him to a country where he could look at cows and horses and sheep. And the problem is they like to label these children. And it became soon very evident to the teachers in the country that, he's looking for an audience. Well, guess what? They said, we won't give him one. And what do you think happened when they stopped giving him an audience?
He had to fix up.
He had to fix up.
Absolutely.
He had to fix up.
But don't forget, most children that play up, they're always looking for attention in one way or the other.
Yeah.
Or they have a problem that they don't want you to focus on. So if I play up, you can't see it. But they don't realise as adults we see everything. Just like a child with a sweet. I haven't got anything in my hand, but you can plainly see they've got chocolate right in their mouth. It's just that simple. Children don't realise that we weren't born this big.
Exactly. They think
and we know that, and you've got a problem. We know you've got a problem. Now you need to tell me what the problem is.
Yeah.
And most children can't articulate what their problem is because, they don't want to feel stupid or otherwise. But it's for you to make them feel comfortable enough to be able to tell you about anything. It don't matter what's bothering them. I've always said to my children, it don't matter what is bothering you, what's troubling you, come to me with it. Yeah, we can work it out.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
To leave an open door and hope the child will trust you enough to keep coming to you. Because I heard someone yesterday saying, I can't remember what his name is. What was his name? He's in the jungle. I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. That singer from Australia. I can't remember that. He said he couldn't go to his parents when he'd been bullied at school and they were tormenting him and giving him a hard time. He couldn't go to his parents.
Stop right there, hold up here.
I thought that was sad.
What did Dad, God rest his soul, what did he used to say?
I can't remember.
When we used to go to school and people, he used to say, right, don't trouble anybody.
Unless they trouble you.
And if they do,
then good luck to them.
Absolutely. So, you saying what you're saying, he didn't feel the need to. That means he couldn't read. Some children really cannot talk to their parents.
No, and he didn't feel he could, which I thought was really sad.
And he had nobody else to go to. I mean, nobody. No other members.
He went through it on his own and tried to.
And that's where you got the problem right there.
Yeah. That's another problem. And you'll find that these problem children who like to make trouble, right? They like picking on other children because they need to have some form of control. And they've got to have some form of power and autonomy.
I think it's quick enough to give people labels. It's easy. And then you can give them medication for it. It's easy. Instead of really addressing the real issue and the problem. I'll label you with this, give you with this. That don't work, we'll move on to something else. At the end of the day, we are not guinea pigs. We are not puppets. We're human beings. And behaviour stems from a lot of things. Yeah. Growing up on your own, even in a big family, peers you can go to, peers you can't. You just got to find your way, really, knowing that who you can actually trust and go to. There are a lot of people that can't go to adults. Do you know what I mean? But you'd think that person would have a best friend or the best friend's parent or somebody, in that setting that they can actually, somebody can say, that child's been troubled. I wonder what it is. Take a proactive approach and seeing as an adult that there's something wrong. Or your child tapping you, like your son will come say, Mum, so and so's not happy at home. And you'll say, why, son? And hoping they have as much information for you to be able to deal with it. And I'm saying, listen, if any child comes to somebody with a problem, like if my daughter was to come home, your son was to come home and say, Mum, so and so, one of his friends are getting battered at home or abused at home, whatever. You as an adult shouldn't look the other way. You as an adult should have a right either to take it to the school because it's what you've heard, or take it to the parent. Now, the parent wants to be, who the hell are you? Because parents are quite ignorant, but they know what's going on.
Yeah.
But you're letting them know, I know what's going on in your house.
Yeah.
Even if you want to block it out, and it makes them kind of be accountable.
Yeah.
That if anything happens, somebody else knows.
Yeah, that's very true. We should, I think we have a duty of care to our children, to all children.
To all children.
And the first thing would be to take it to the school's attention, in case the school might already know about it already, but they didn't realise to the extent. And then you're bringing it to their attention that this is still happening, You'd just be surprised, because I know that there's been children who've gone and said they're hungry and they're not being fed, and all the school did was take it to the parents. The parents like, what are you talking about? Don't you dare suggest that I ain't feeding my child. This time the child is starving. The child was not being fed. And it all went into a pretty little folder and put into the filing cabinet, until it all went horribly wrong, That's when they took it seriously. It's too late then. And how do you have to find a way of addressing, because, as I said, let's call him Mr. ADHD, for want of a better word, comes and he's flying over the banisters and flying down the banisters and jumping 6 stairs up and just boisterous. And one day I went to him and I said, listen to me. Here you go, mate. Wrote down the name of the local hospital and the address. I said, you're going to need this, and when you end up in the hospital, don't give them my address, don't give them my name, just give them your name, and you stay there until you get better and I'll come and get you, alright? Because so then we had to set boundaries, and the more we set boundaries, now thankfully I have 2 fantastic boys of my own, and I have to give them credit where they're due, and they know how to reel people in. So they were just like, what do you think? No, we don't do that in this house. You need to stop. You need to stop. We do not behave like that in this house. And the more we sent that message, we don't behave like that in this house. Let me tell you something. Listen to me. I used to go into the dining room and there would be smashed eggs all over the floor. There would be flour on the floor. And i.e. when you say to him, why have you put flour on the floor? Well, I'm pretending it's cooking. I beg your pardon? Where you come from? London. Well, we don't do London here. When you're not in London anymore. And then make him clear it up. Make him clear it up. And the eggs, make him clear it up. And we had to keep just reiterating the boundaries. And I think people get fed up with reiterating boundaries.
That's the problem. They give up easily.
They give up easily.
But unfortunately, like anything in life, in order to become good at it, it's an everyday thing. It's not just a one-off, are they going to get it? It's like children repeating to our children, don't put your hand there, you're going to burn.
Yeah.
Don't put your hand there, you're going to burn. Don't put your hand there, you're going to burn. You can say it for a million times, you're going to say it because you don't want that child to burn.
Yeah.
This is how you instill that reiteration constantly, that continuous behaviour, or saying, stop doing it. You don't just stop because, I can't be bothered. Because that one day you don't say, that child is going to burn.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? It's one of those. And you have to apply that with anything, as simple as it is.
Yeah. Yes, it's true. And we just, stuck it out. Almost didn't, but we did. And now we've got a beautiful boy. No more nonsense, no more ADHD. I didn't give him no pills, don't you? I didn't give him no pills, because 11-year-olds should not be on pill because they don't know how to behave themselves. And
it almost as if, I'm sorry, but, people may just, they'll probably have comments about them too, don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah! Yeah, we all know we don't know what we're talking about.
Test me. Send your child here, love. Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah.
Because every child can be reached one way or the other. I don't care how bad they think they are. How, they feel that, people are not for them, against them, It's not that. It stems from something.
Yeah.
It really does. And even in the best child with, top grades have issues. And yet it's not about being a psychiatrist, a psychologist, not to do that. It always stems from how they're feeling about themselves and why they feel that way about themselves.
Yeah.
And just because you're a foster child, you're still a human being at the end of the day. You know, label or no label, my argument is you ain't no different to anybody else. I mean, you're just not. You're not different to anybody else just because somebody else. Because, you know, with all the good, you know, anybody can be raised by anybody. It doesn't even have to be your biological parents. You know what I mean? A mother and a father can be a mother and father to any child. They don't have to be your own.
No.
Do you know, many people have been raised by other people. Do you know what I mean? They class them as their mum and dad or whatever. But the point is, it's all about love, care, manners and respect. And once you put all those together, you know, and a good foundation, a child will turn the corner.
Yeah.
You know, lots of children just want to be heard. They want to be loved. They want to be cared for.
Yeah.
And they want to be treated, don't get me wrong, not as equal. You will never be equal to a child. And that's where the problem stems.
That's where a lot of the problem
Of course it is. You think that you and them is friend. No. You can't be your child's friend.
Not until they're older.
And even then, you still need to have that level of manners and respect to know that you're still an adult.
Yeah.
I mean, my daughter, as I always said to you, you know, my son, you know, manners and respect all the time. But we banter, we laugh, we joke, I jump on them, we fight, you know what I mean, play fighting, we do stuff together. But there's never one time that we play and joke about that and they're going to overstep the mark.
Yeah.
At any time. They'll always remember that's the authoritative figure.
Yeah.
Although we're laughing and joking.
And I think that's where we've gone wrong. People have lost their authoritative figure.
I don't really see a lot of authority. I tell you what, it reminds me about this little boy that was kicking his mother on the bus. I was laughing to myself because the little boy is actually sitting beside me and his mother is sitting in front of him. But obviously, you know, he's sitting beside me because that's the only chair available. And I see him just kicking his mum and she's saying, like, we'll call him Rupert for now. Rupert, stop it. Rupert, stop it. And he's kicking her. And I'm talking about this boy is probably about 9 years old. Rupert, stop it, she's saying. Rupert, stop it. And I read my book on the bus. And normal people just watch and say nothing. But I'm sorry. I am not the one. You ain't sitting beside me. For one, you're fidgeting and say you're already really annoying me. But your mother's already told you to stop. So at what point are you not stopping, little boy? So then all of a sudden, Rupert, didn't I tell you to stop? And Rupert's still kicking her. No expressions on the boy's face. It's just kicking. I just put my hand on his knee and said, didn't your mother just tell you not to stop? And he's looked at me and said, yeah, that's right. I'm talking to you. Did your mother not just tell you to stop? And I'm waiting for the mother to challenge me, you know. Of course. Because that's what I'm expecting. Yes. I don't care enough because your words means nothing to this child. So clearly he's doing what he feels like in public. And he's embarrassing you as a parent.
Yeah.
But I'm letting you know what? Your mother told you to stop, so now stop. Boy just looked at me and curled himself up. And I'm a stranger.
I'd look at him and curl myself up too.
I'd curl at me and all. The point is, if someone's telling you to do something, no, because you can have it twofold. Because that same little boy you can tell to stop. And he's run out in the road. If I let him run out without grabbing him back, would you really have something to say?
And it's sad because the boy did. There was one that ran out in the road. And I thought to myself, your voice meant nothing to that child. He just kept running and running and running. And funny enough, you know, he ended up falling over on his face. And I thought, that is very unfortunate. But as a mother, you know what he's like.
So why have you allowed him?
Yeah, why are you not holding his hand?
Right.
You knew that he weren't going to listen to you, and you knew.
And therefore you took that chance.
You took a chance, you took a risk.
You don't take chances.
Allowing him that space, and my boy ran out into the road and right on his face.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was ooh. And she picked him up and she was trying to offer him ice cream to calm him down.
Ice cream? You wouldn't be getting nothing, you see? There you go again. You told him to stop, and then you reward him for his bad behaviour. Yeah. But ice cream,
but I'd say she's rewarding him because he's hurt himself.
No. You feel that pain because now when I tell you to stop, you will remember. You know, it's one of the, and it's not to be cruel to be kind. You're not. You're teaching him that when I told this would not have happened if you had stopped.
When I told you to stop.
Because if the car ran him over, you wouldn't be giving him ice cream, would you?
That's true.
You're big.
And this is the problem, isn't it? They've just got the psyche all wrong. Why aren't you rewarding the child for not listening to you? You're rewarding the child
because you're only encouraging to do it again.
Yeah, that's just the, and this is where it all stems from. You know, boundary, setting the right boundaries
and the right tone. My argument, you know, just because you're a teacher doesn't mean you can teach. That's another thing. So if you are not, reaching the child at school
Yeah.
and engaging with that child, or seeing that child has a problem,
Yeah.
and addressing it,
Mm.
because you just know how to teach.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. But you don't realise that somebody's struggling. Nobody wants to be picked out at school to say, you know what I mean? But you as a teacher should be able to pick up whether somebody's struggling or not.
Well, most of the time, that's why they're disrupting
That's
the class.
exactly why they're
Because they
disrupting
don't
the class.
understand what's going on.
Okay.
They don't understand what's going on. Because they don't want to look stupid, they then start turning into a clown, clowning around, shouting out.
Because they're not learning anything, because what you're saying is gobbledygook.
Yeah.
It's a foreign language because they're not getting
They
it.
don't understand what you're saying. And consequently, I realised that it's getting more prominent in the school for, it's not even a handful of bad children anymore.
Oh, God.
It's just
the whole school of bad children.
And not only bad children, dysfunctional children.
More to the point.
Dysfunctional, depressed children. It's just unprecedented, the amount of children that feel like they can't come up with life and they're only little.
And they know about life.
Exactly. And yet they create this world for themselves. I know it's all down to social media. I know that a lot of the thoughts and feelings that are embedded in our children come from social media. But by the same token, it's up to us as parents to police what they are watching.
Police. Who's got time to police? When you've got a house full of, you could be looking after somebody elderly. Do you know what I mean? You've got your own children. Do you know what I mean? And you got a family to raise, a home to run, and still be on top of things. How are you going to police everything?
Can't.
Do you see what I mean? So that's kind of difficult at the end of the day. So my point is, you either find the time or you take it away. Because we did without it, social media.
Yeah, we didn't have social media.
And that's another thing. Nobody even talks anymore. People don't communicate because the face is always down. Children are doing it. They don't. That's why they don't come and say morning, afternoon, evening, because they want their tablets, they want their phones. They're walking the room, they're still on it. Nobody knows how to greet anyone because their face is down, like the tablet or the phone's talking to them.
Yeah.
When that's all they have to do is look up, engage, and go back to what they're going to do. Even that, they find it difficult to do. And to hold a conversation, how many youngsters do you know can sit in a room and hold a conversation? Unless you engage in that conversation.
Yeah, and some of them just start these random midway conversation spurts.
And you're supposed to
pick up
the beginning and the end.
Miss it.
Because they're giving you the middle.
They're giving you the middle.
No. Start again. I've got a friend called Lorraine, and I used to say, set the scene. Because she used to just, on it. It's like, no, calm down. Tell me the story about from beginning to end. Don't just come and just give me the end version. I want you set the scene, and then she'll have to calm down and set the scene. Just like anybody. Do you know what I mean? Society doesn't allow our children anymore to be free enough to be able to express themselves in the way that they really, because everybody's busy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, being busy at the day, you need to rein it in. You need to find that time. No one's telling you to set half a day. They're talking a half an hour. Do you know what I used to do, Carl? Do you know what I used to do?
No.
Ask my children now. What was 7:30 to them? Even you ask them now. 7:30 was
wind down and talking time.
I said 7:30 to 8 o'clock, because that's the time we sat around the table and I had our dinner, and they could tell me how the school day went. And that's the only time that we engaged for that half an hour. But you tell me how your day went. No phones at the table. It's all about communicating. You can do what you want for the rest of the evening. But when dinner is served, that's time for us to engage. Because I knew even then social media was out there. Everybody wants to chat to their friends. Everybody wants to play game. You can do that. Once you've done your homework, you've had your dinner, we can chat, you can go. Do you know what I mean? But you also know what time bedtime is, so you need to fit those in. You give them guidelines, and it works.
Yeah.
But it's not just the odd day. Every day, 7:30 is dinner time.
Yeah.
No matter what. Yeah. Every day, so they know the rules, the set pattern.
Yes. The set pattern. And sometimes routine is what's missing,
It's key, routine.
Yeah. And
even we need routines as adults.
Of course we do. Yes, we do. Otherwise we just become overwhelmed and then spiral out of control. Yeah, we all need routines. Yeah. So the school, a lot of their power has been taken away from them by the government and by other people in authority who think they know better. But they should have a segregated class, and because some children I find, and I don't know why it takes them so long to work this out. Some children can't do crowns.
No, that's right. Just because you've been put in a room full of people doesn't mean that you can even engage in one of them.
No.
But you're forced to because you're an adult.
You're forced to.
But as children,
Yeah.
how do you do that?
Yeah. And when you're forced to be in a whole room of people, and you can't cope, and you don't know how to say, I'm not coping very well with this, then you're going to get an explosion.
Absolutely.
And
it's all going to be bottled up.
And what you ultimately suppress, you have to express, and that's what these children are doing, I believe, anyway. Although, even though I've said that, I've actually seen children that look like the lights are on, but there's nobody home. And that's a big, whoa, there's something not right with that child. And they haven't even done anything, per se, not to me anyway. But you can just look at them and think, that child don't look right. And 9 out of 10 times,
there's always
something
going on.
Yeah.
But the thing is, as you say, there's only one teacher to a group of a classroom, say 15 to 30, especially with what's going on now, even reduced. But that one teacher's not going to pick out that individual and even give them an extra 5. They don't have that resource.
No, they don't have the resources.
But they should. Well, because what are you teaching for? So you're only going to teach the people you can teach and leave the ones behind. No.
Well, I know that they have they have assistants, classroom assistants.
We used to have more back in our time,
Probably.
More classroom assistants than there is now.
Yeah. But a lot of the children, you see, they don't want anybody to think that they're dumb, so they don't want the assistant. That's another problem.
Yeah.
But as I said, I think one of the challenges they have is trying to keep them in a normalised
environment.
Yeah, but what's
for who?
For me,
for who?
exactly.
Ain't normal. What's normal for you ain't normal for me.
No.
I mean, even you and I don't tick the same.
No. So we need to find ways, of getting our children back. And the reason why I say getting them back is because there's just too many of them that have been lost in the system, too many of them that have been labelled, too many of them that are going through things that they shouldn't be going through, seeing things they shouldn't be seeing, and we're losing them to their environment, and it's very sad. And as my sister talked about around the dinner table, I think because we were brought up around the dinner table, and we both brought our families up around the dinner table, and that was talking time. And so, of course, even though our children are of age, they still can come and debate with us because it's a norm for them.
That's right.
But it's normal to come and say, oh, Mum, can I have a chat with you and sit down and debate? It's normal for them. That's what they're used to.
I always say that caring is sharing, mate, and sharing is caring. At the end of the day, you want to get something off your chest. Somebody wants to sit down and listen. You normally gravitate to that person, whether it's mum or dad or both of them, or your own siblings. But once you be able to talk to anybody, little children talk to you. You hear children talk. You stand at the door, you can hear them.
So they can talk.
Of course they can. They just don't want to talk to you. But once you grasp it, give yourself 5 minutes to stand behind the door and just listen. You're not eavesdropping. It's not about privacy. No, because privacy becomes exposure when it all goes wrong. So even little children mimic things and play with things, and you hear them thinking, she's not having a good day at school today. I wonder what went wrong, and you call them. Do you know what I mean? Just these little tidbits that you can just draw them in slowly, and then they feel comfortable enough to come to you after a while.
Yes. Yeah. So, I don't know what I don't suppose anybody knows. I mean, what the answer is, but we do need to try.
Absolutely.
We need to try to make things better for our children, because the society that they've been brought up in is very difficult, very challenging, and they're expected to conform and fit in, and they're not always going to conform and fit. But by the same token, as our original question that we posed was, why should we allow disruption to the majority through the minority? And
thank you for watching another episode of
Them and Us.
See you again.
See you again soon. Bye-bye.